We no longer think of America as the new world, and yet, in many ways, we encounter things for the first time that are already an old story to the countries of Europe. One of these institutions is organized crime, the formal formation of a hidden army to wage war against society. Through wars and empires, Europe's crime syndicates have survived, working, living, and killing by their own rules, and dealing out their own brand of justice. The men are highly trained specialists, experts at the war fought always beneath the surface. This is the story of an incident in this never-ending war. This is the story of the stakes that men risk their lives for, stakes as high as a man's life.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Hans Gerber?
That's correct. Has someone recommended my shop to you? What do you want? That's Carl. You are...
Yes, I am. You shouldn't have done it.
Give me a chance. I told the police nothing. I swear I didn't.
I'll see the medical report in my office. I want the ballistics report in my office as quickly as possible. Well, we'll compare this bullet with the others, but I don't think there's any doubt as to who the killer is.
No, I don't think so either, Inspector. But I'd like to confirm it with you later, if I may.
The report is for official use only.
I won't print it, Inspector. I'm not ready to yet. Someday someone will get him, and I'll have the only complete file for my story.
You actually know more about the killer than we do.
Only because I've seen his work in several countries.
I'd like to compare notes with you, Mike.
Whenever you like.
Now, let's go to my office now.
All right.
Report to my office as soon as you get back.
executioner had struck again. The pattern was repeating itself. The police would make every possible investigation, and the result would be an open file. I had seen it before, in Frankfurt, Stockholm, Hamburg, North Africa. A corpse and the shadow of a man. The most difficult kind of man to find. A man who killed without personal motive, without previous contact. A man whose only trace was death. First time I ran into this killer's handiwork was in Casablanca in 1947. North Africa is still a pretty hot place. It was even hotter in 1947.
But how do you know it was the same killer?
Well, we can't be sure, Inspector, until we get your ballistics report. But it's a safe guess for the moment. You see, he's always used the same gun.
You said before he had a title.
Yes, the underworld calls him the Executioner. A nice formal title for an organized crime syndicate that goes back centuries. Someday someone's going to break this syndicate, and I'm going to write the story.
Well, everything you've said checks with our facts.
The murdered man was part of this syndicate, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Hans Gerber was a key figure in the smuggling operations in this country. Well, he handled gold. His antique shop was a perfect front to ship and receive products from all over the world.
Why was he killed?
Well, Gerber was tired, Mike. Old and scared and tired. Wanted to break with the syndicate, but they wouldn't let him. So he turned to us for help. We arranged a meeting with him for this afternoon, but the executioner got there first.
The Executioner. A shadow with a gun. A man who kills coldly and simply, and then fades away. The police of 20 cities are looking for him. I hope you get him, Inspector.
Oh, we'll do everything we can. Thanks for your cooperation, Mike. It may help.
Well, I hope so. Let me give you one more tip, Inspector.
Yeah?
No one's ever caught this killer because he's been able to move from country to country quickly and easily, and because he's been able to hide his identity.
Oh, we know that already.
That's your key, Inspector. Look for a man whose occupation permits him to move from country to country quickly and easily, and to hide his identity as he goes. Good hunting.
Do you have a match?
Do you have a cigarette?
No, I don't smoke.
Excuse me.
Mr. Powers.
You don't smoke and you know my name. What do you want?
We've never met. My name is Melody. I have read your stories, Mr. Powers, and I have seen you. And I knew you'd be interested.
In what?
Hans Gerber, the antiquary, was a good friend.
The man who was killed this afternoon during a holdup?
You know as well as I, Mr. Powers. He was killed by the syndicate, by the executioner.
How do you know that?
Because I know the real identity of the executioner.
Let's go to this cafe and talk it over. What would you like?
Coffee.
2 coffees, please. Now, tell me about the executioner.
Before I do, there is something that must be understood.
Oh, a deal, huh?
Yes, but it is not a question of money.
Go on.
I want a guarantee of safe conduct to the border. After I have this, I reveal the identity of the executioner.
A guarantee of safe conduct isn't enough. They'll be looking for you.
I'll take my chances after that.
All right, but I can't guarantee safe conduct anywhere. I'm not a police official.
If I go to the police, the syndicate will hear of it. They have contacts everywhere. I know you're a friend of Police Inspector Vesti.
Oh, I see. You want me to be the intermediary. You'll talk if they guarantee you a safe conduct.
It's the only way. The syndicate won't suspect you're helping me.
Stay here. I'll phone Inspector Vesti. Where's the girl who was here?
She left while we were telephoning.
The whole thing seemed a little unreal. You don't expect a young, pretty girl to pick you up on the street and tell you she knows the name of a killer wanted by half a dozen countries around the world. You don't expect a young, pretty girl to know the names of dead criminals. And then you don't expect a young, pretty girl to demand the terms she asked and then disappear. And then, even though you look through the streets for her, you don't expect to find her. It was a hopeless search. She came from nowhere and disappeared as though I'd never seen her. She said her name was Melody. Not a common name, but very little to start looking for. Unless I got a lucky break.
What's happened? That girl you phoned me about earlier. She fell from the wire.
And now, to return to the second part of Foreign Intrigue.
Now the cigarettes.
Melody was dead. She had made her last public appearance and her last exit through the stage door of the theater. The witness against the executioner had spoken and died.
Yes?
May I come in?
Who are you?
My name is Michael Powers, Associated News. I've just come from the hospital.
Yes?
Inspector Vesti asked me to stop off here and tell you about Melody.
Oh. Come in. That was kind of the inspector. How is Melody?
She's dead.
The death of an old person. It's natural one expects it. But when someone young and vital like Melody dies, it's hard to understand.
Were you fond of her?
At one time we were engaged to be married. Perhaps you think it's strange, Mr. Powers, that a young girl and attractive like Melody should fall in love with a clown.
Why didn't you and Melody ever marry?
People fall in love, people fall out of love. Who knows why these things happen?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry. You own this troupe, don't you?
Yes, I make all the programs. And I make all the bookings, too.
The show plays only in the cities you pick?
Yes. I chose well, too. Everywhere we went. Paris, Rome, Marseille, Stockholm, Copenhagen, Zurich. Everywhere we drew the crowds. Of course, they came mostly for Melody. She was the real star. And now she's dead. A terrible accident.
Strange accident. For a girl who's done the same act so many times before.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Powers?
Would you show me the place where Melody fell?
If you wish. Would you mind waiting a moment, Mr. Powers? I want to get my jacket. It's rather drafty in this theater. You understand?
I'll wait here. You better go first.
Excuse me. Oh. You know, Mr. Powers, that all the sets and equipment have been put away. There's nothing left except an empty stage.
I know.
Melody fell here. The police made the chalk mark.
How did it happen?
She was in the middle of her act, where she balanced on one foot on the high wire. Suddenly the wire sagged. It was so unexpected she couldn't regain her balance.
Wasn't there some kind of a clamp on either end of the wire to keep it stretched tight?
Yes, but one of the clamps was probably loose.
Isn't that unusual? Didn't someone check them before each performance?
Yes? Who? Melody.
Then someone might have loosened the clamp after she inspected it.
But that would be murder, Mr. Powers.
Yes.
Why should anyone want to kill a lovely girl like Melody?
To prevent her from keeping an appointment with the police. Melody was about to give them an important piece of information. The name of a man known as the Executioner.
The Executioner? That's a frightening name.
Yes. He's earned it. You see, he's a sort of a staff trigger man for an international crime cartel. It's his job to travel from country to country purging members of the syndicate who get cold feet and are tempted to talk to the police. Am I boring you?
Indeed, no, Mr. Powles. This is most interesting. You reporters seem to find out everything.
This trigger man, the executioner, removed a threat to the syndicate this afternoon. An old antiquary named Hans Gerber. Then he discovered that Melody had learned his identity and was about to tell the police. Melody, it seems, was an old friend of this Hans Gerber.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was about to tell me the name of the executioner in a cafe this afternoon. And something frightened her, and she left. Then she had her accident.
Melody was a strange girl. But perhaps you know the killer's name anyway, Mr. Powles.
Just before she lost consciousness in the ambulance, she said, the clown.
You realize we're alone, Mr. Powles?
It's a clever disguise. A clown who can cross frontiers, who wears makeup to hide his scarred face from the police and informers. A clown who's really a killer.
You're quite right. Who'd suspect a clown? That's why the police of half-dozen countries run round in circles looking for the executioner. A policeman thinks like a policeman. He's told to find a killer, so he looks for a killer. But does he look for a clown? Of course not. That would never occur to him. You discovered my identity, Mr. Powles. But you will be removed. Then once again, I will be just Bruno. The man with a funny face. Bruno, who makes children laugh. Bruno, the clown.
Bravo. That was a fine speech, Bruno. But the performance is finished. Drop your gun. Hit him off in the corridor. You all right, Mike?
Nervous, but all right. Will they get him?
They'll get him.
That came from up near the second balcony.
If he's up there, it's a dead alley.